Aftermath TV fans, you're just in time because we're going to talk about Triple H 25th anniversary next Friday. That's huge. I want to hear from Nug, Jimmy, and Anthony what you guys think about this and what it means to you because, Anthony and Jimmy, you've been in WWE for many years. Nug, you are the #1 fan and one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever met. So how would you guys like this special to look?
Man, where do you begin? Because first of all, among some fans, and I know Nug being the #1 fan understands where I'm coming from here, he gets a bad rap. Hunter gets a bad rap because of, obviously his relationship with Stephanie and that sort of thing. But that being said, from day one, when he first entered WWE, you saw it in him. It was just a matter of time before he found himself, and getting to know him and getting to see him develop over the years and recreate himself and reinvent himself like constantly. He understood that. And when you talk about, where do you rank him among the best of all time? He's in the top echelon. I don't know if he necessarily makes the Mount Rushmore. Everybody, that's an opinion thing, but he is incredible.
Yeah, you know what? He's as a professional wrestler, he obviously dove in and he loves it and he studied it and he became a student of the game and he's awesome. Then to have a relationship with Stephanie, that really does affect your career and the perception of your peers and your fans. But he still went for it. He followed his heart. He didn't care what anybody else said. And then that maybe got him an opportunity to have some official control. But without the official control, he was still a locker room leader and he still had some control, with regards to the backstage culture and how it felt backstage. But then when he got the opportunity, I mean, he's a brilliant businessman now. Regardless of how he first got in there, he's doing a fantastic job being a business person, but also still having his finger on the pulse of the industry and what the fans want, and still having that connection to being a brilliant performer. Mm-hmm. It's the tough part is that he's throwing himself a party, basically. So how special is the party when you throw it for yourself? Because he's in charge of a lot of aspects of production.
Why not?
Hey, I'd throw myself a party too. Yeah. But he's so multi-layered, and that's the thing. There's the underlying bodybuilder at the very base, a fan at the very, very base, and then a guy who spent all this time and effort to become a great wrestler. And I've heard stories through friends from Vince that was saying he's a smart guy. He just knows nothing about business yet. This is when he first kind of connected to the family, but he's come such a long way, and he knows so much about just business, not the business, just business. And then you mix business with the business, and he's the man.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do an anniversary special about Triple H, there has been, I'm gonna say, 40 to 50 iterations of Triple H over the years. And if you're going to do it, show the history. There's a ton of fans right now who live and breathe Attitude Era, like that's everything, and there was nothing before it. Well, there was. Hunter Hearst Helmsley was before that, the aristocrat from Connecticut, and some of that stuff is gold.
He was great.
The beginnings, the very beginnings, when the debut of China, before there was a DX.
Yep.
All of the stuff he went through before becoming Triple H when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley. That's the meat of it. That's where you watch a guy learning how to be a WWE wrestler and then coming into his own and becoming Triple H.
Now,
Nug was a wrestler in WCW as well.
Yeah.
Terrorizing.
Yeah. Nug, during that time, what set Hunter aside from everyone else, and what gave him the ability to transform into Triple H?
What set him aside from everybody else, what set him apart, was literally him thinking he was better than everybody else. His nose was in the air. He walked around. He looked at the fans like they were garbage. He looked at the other wrestlers like they were garbage. And all the fans wanted to do was see him get his head knocked off. And so many guys came at him to do that, and Triple H managed to handle all of them. If there's going to be a highlight on there for you fans who have only known Triple H as a guy in a suit who created NXT, go check out an In Your House where he fights Henry Godwinn in a hog pen match.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. Oh.
You know what? I have so much respect for him to, be in WWE as, a superstar that a lot of people will remember for various reasons. And then now on the other side of it, run NXT and be a businessman, like to talk about that versatility. And Jimmy, you've always mentioned to me how respectful and nice he is. And I've met him a couple of times, and there's something about Triple H where he's so intense, but like it's a warmth to him as well. And he's very respectful. He'll say your name, just like you can tell, like a good guy, so I always appreciate that. So it's very interesting to see someone on both sides of the coin and be successful either way.
Yeah, and the one thing about Hunter is he's very passionate about giving back to the business.
Mm-hmm.
And like Anthony said, he learned, he absorbed, he was a sponge. He took it in from his idol, Ric Flair. He learned from Vince, the business side. He learned from everybody he came in contact with. And he's passing on that knowledge. And also, if I dare say, he's learning as he's going along. And to me, he's doing everything right now. And on a personal note, thank you. He was the one who gave me the nickname Corduroy. I don't know where that came from, but yeah, I can't describe enough how passionate he is and how much he loves this industry.
Yeah, and he's also a dad, and he's raised his family during this whole time. Killer Kowalski was his first coach. And you know what? There was a time years ago, I was between contracts and I was getting a little burnt out and my neck was flaring up. And, I sat down with him and I expressed what I needed, and he allowed me to have 6 months off in between, which, allowed me to open up a business so that when I retired one day, I'd have a business. And he was understanding. He's always been understanding. It's funny, every time I do interviews, I always tell people, if he only knew how much of a fan I was of him just as a guy, because of his intelligence and his perseverance and his attitude and his personality. He has no idea how much. It's him, Cena, and Vince are like three of my just idols, just in terms of being alpha male men.
Aww.
And, he definitely deserves everything he's going to get.
I love that. Okay, before we wrap up this conversation quickly, what is your guys' favorite Triple H moment or moments?
Oh, for me, there are two, because I was there for kind of both of them. One was his return after his injury at Madison Square Garden. I have never heard a reaction like that in my life when he came out on stage. You could see he almost wanted to tear up, and he still got to stay in Triple H mode with his arms like this, but you could see how much he felt it. And the other one was him riling up the troops, the DX troops, before heading over. We were in Hampton, Virginia. They were in Norfolk, Virginia at the Scope across the river, and they took the little military Jeep over and they invaded WCW. That was just so much fun, man.
Jimmy, when was his return? What was that, 2002?
Oh my goodness. Was it 2002? It was at Madison Square Garden, of course, the home, the unofficial home of WWE. And it was absolutely insane.
I love hearing that. That's amazing. Cool. Nug, how about you?
My favorite stuff of Triple H, comedy comes from there being a good straight man. And Triple H learned his comedy by being in a tag team with William Regal back in WCW. There's no better straight man in all of wrestling than William Regal. And him and Regal as a tag team in WCW taught him everything he needed to know about comedy. And he kept that timing going through as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And then as Triple H, he got to flip it and be the person doing it to the straight man. Go back and watch the old stuff. It's the best.
I had multiple European tours with DX on the road, and watching them tag every night. It was an education in itself, just watching them execute that tag match, the hot tag, perfect every single night. And they're perfect every single night. And they'll come back, even though it's perfect, and they'll make some kind of modification to make it even better. And I'm like, how did you even see that opportunity for modification? It was, crowd is not a wasted step. not a wasted breath. Everything was amazing.
I love hearing that. All right, Aftermath TV fans, send us your questions using the hashtag AskAftermath. We want to hear from you, except for Jimmy on Twitter. Don't at him. I'm kidding. We want to hear from you, and tune in every Friday for a live chat with us to talk the latest, everything that's going on in WWE. We want to hear from you, so be sure to tweet us. Hashtag AskAftermath.